Hello and welcome. My name is Lynn Hawkins, and you are in the zone, the BIZ Info Zone, where you, the social savvy entrepreneur, gets to express your purpose, plan your next moves, and we're here in the zone to help you increase your prosperity. And that's done by our P3 philosophy of social entrepreneurship, which is purpose and planning to prosperity, not only in your business but in your life and how you impact the lives of others. Today our show is in the mindset strategy category. We're going to be talking about a few things, including leadership, leverage, business acceleration, communication, and something that's near and dear to me and my speaker today, and my guest, is co-creation. So the topic title for our show today is Co-Create, Communicate, and Ignite Change. Our guest is my friend and business associate, Susan M. Davis. And if you thought about collaboration and teaming as being the buzzwords in the business industry today, well, what do they really mean? What is collaboration? What is teaming in today's business environment? Is it for everyone? Do we all naturally know how to be team players? Do all teams function well? These are some of the questions that we're going to explore today and more. And we're going to be giving you some information about what you can do to really co-create, communicate, and ignite positive change in your business, in the businesses of others, and in all of our lives. Today, as I mentioned, our guest is Susan M. Davis. She's a serial entrepreneur who's built several successful businesses over her 35-year-plus career, and collaboration and facilitating teams has really been a way of life for her. She's given herself permission to not just play alone. And she's following Aristotle's famous adage from centuries ago, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And while we've heard that before, there are a few of us that are actually taking the philosophy of me to we. Susan believes that living the we life is just a lot more fun, and I tend to agree with that. It's developing the community, it's developing the life, the business that we're all about. And that is what social entrepreneurs are all about. And what she believes in creating true success comes out of this philosophy. Susan has been in the Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area, where she's been a serial entrepreneur for decades. And most of her life she's been connected to fine arts, design, architecture, and building beautifully designed, sustainable homes. And she's enjoyed attaining business development skills and marketing expertise all along the way, both online and offline, through continuing education and connecting with the mentors and the coaches that have really helped her to build her businesses. And she's an experienced conversation radio and TV host and currently serves on the board of directors of Silicon Valley's own KMB TV 15. It's their community media TV. Susan's received national honors and awards and publications for her sustainable design and green building in the green building industry. And she's made various contributions to education and broadcasting all throughout the Bay Area and beyond. And now she has brought herself, her expertise, and her unique message to our community to give voice to igniting positive change in the world. And if you know anything about what the BIZ Info Zone is all about and what we're trying to create, it's a greater community of social entrepreneurs who are looking to do more good in the world, and in doing so, giving themselves the opportunity to do more good with and through their businesses. So, welcome, Susan. Welcome to today's show. I'm so happy you're here with us today.
Hi, Lynn. It's great to be here, and I hope you can hear me okay. Your sound kind of goes in and out on my end, so I'm not sure whether that's me or you, but I hope everybody can hear me okay. I also the screen just froze, and so I hope you can hear me, period. So now let me know if everything is hooked up okay and if I need to do anything to make it better.
Here we go. All right, looks like we're back and we're flying in high motion here. Can you hear me better now?
Now I can hear you and you're unfrozen.
Oh, great, great. Adjusting my screen, adjusted some other stuff, and woof, okay. Well,
Okay.
I hope the intro went okay, because this is a pivotal point for me with you being on the show today, because we've just recently launched a couple of things, two of which I will talk about a little later in the show, but just to give our viewers an idea. The P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship has just launched, and that's the purpose and planning to prosperity, are the three P's, and the Academy of Social Entrepreneurship that really focuses on delivering to our members, our constituents, our participants, and our viewing audience, because the BIZ Info Zone show is where we actually present some of the material that we've developed for the curriculum for the Academy. And having you on the show today to actually talk about the ideas around co-creation and collaboration and teams and just the whole bringing together of the we that causes change is really part of what our mission is. And I know that's your mission, but to get us started here and to let our audience know a little bit more about you, share a bit more about your journey in this co-creation space and this collaboration space that you've been in now for quite a while.
Yeah, I would say probably my entire life, really. Um, and having businesses and building businesses, being an entrepreneur, has always been something that has been part of my life as well. And being having a socially conscious business, and being a social entrepreneur, we used to call it a different name, different names over time, but it's always been where what I love. And so I would love to kind of give you a real brief synopsis of the journey. So I guess really my entrepreneurial journey, and that is also my co-creative journey, started back in my childhood and with my family. My parents weren't entrepreneurs, but my sister and I always liked doing stuff like having shows and selling lemonade and doing that kind of stuff. And that was really the seeds of doing collaborative social entrepreneurship, because it was the neighborhood. It wasn't just me doing it all by myself. It was the neighborhood kids all getting together to do these things, and we thought of them as sort of businesses. I don't think we really made any substantial money, but we sure had fun doing it. And then when I was in high school, I was a babysitter, and I had a very lucrative babysitting business with key clients that I worked with over several years while their kids grew up and while I was in middle school and high school. And that taught me so many great things about collaboration, because usually there were more than one child in the family, and this was my job. I was getting paid to come play with them and make their parents comfortable that things were going to be okay while they were gone. But it was a chance for me to kind of facilitate a co-creative team. In college, I met my husband, and we both were art majors, and we started collaborating together way back in the late 60s, early 70s. And we went through college together, and then we built businesses together. We've always sort of been on the same path, and which is wonderful. It's not like we do the same thing, but we have aligned values, and we honor each other's creativity, and we honor each other's gifts and skills, and then to collaborate to build businesses, it was great because we had the support of each other, and then we built those businesses to have larger teams. And the most recent business that we worked together on, co-founders, co-owners, co-everything, was the company that we ran for 23 years about. And we had a team of 12 employees, and probably, literally hundreds of suppliers, trade specialists, consultants, people that we considered part of our core team. And one of the key elements of building that business from a six-figure business in the early 90s to over $2.5 million in a year revenue was really because of learning and working as a team and being in a really high-powered mastermind where like businesses were in there, and they were our board of directors, really, our board of advisors. And so I just love this. I just love being part of teams, making sure that the team works together well, and just having great success that way. It just lights me up personally, and of course, seeing all of everybody has such great gifts that I don't have to be on stage. I would rather not be on stage. I'd rather just be like I kind of make it the analogy of being the MC at the Academy Awards. You know, it's not about me. I'm not that great. It's all about these great players who are so good at all these different things that they do. And so that's been my journey.
Well, that's actually how I met you. Years ago, we were both involved in something that brought us together, and there was a natural progression for us for two reasons. One, because of the whole real estate and construction development and the like, but the other was this sense of purpose and community. And, you know, when I think about your journey, tell us a little now about the space that you're in that's true collaboration and co-creation, and the community that you've founded that kind of takes all of that into account.
Okay. Well, before I even dive into the co-creation community, I have to say that it's not always easy to be a collaborator. It's not always easy to be on teams. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's also not easy to run a business. Business is, there's a lot of moving parts. And I really believe that it's like juggling, and it takes practice. And it also takes a really tight team of consultants, advisors, people that you depend on for great information as well as guidance. In our company that was awesome. I mean, we had the most awesome experiences. over those 20 years. But I have to say that we made some big mistakes in 2008, and and you know, it was hard to keep the balls rolling, juggling, and to make everything happen the way that it needed to happen. And we failed. We went from being on the top of the world to being underground. We died. And that failure was probably the best thing that ever happened to us. Because what that failure did was it pointed out all of the good things that had gone on in not just that business, but everything else, every other thing that I personally had ever done or that my husband and I had done together. But it also pointed out the mistakes. And in business, you can make some mistakes that will kill you. You can. It's not that difficult to do that. It hurts. It hurts a lot. Failure hurts. I mean, we lost everything down to zero, and we were 60 years old. So, living in Silicon Valley.
You're not alone.
I live in Google View, where the median age in Google View is Mountain View is 35 years old. So I was not 35. But what this did was it allowed me to really look at my life, look at my journey, look at what worked, what has always worked well, which was co-creation, and really focus. And I feel like I did a dissertation. I did the research and the writing and the all of what you do to get a PhD. I did that after the failure of our business to come up with the co-creation community. And it is the culmination of my life, and it is so awesomely wonderful and fun. So what the co-creation community is a global village of entrepreneurs and coaches and authors and actors and change agents that want to make a difference in the world, getting their messages out to a broader audience. And what we do in the co-creation community is collaborate to support each other's gifts, to get what we need from each other, and to broadcast our messages through digital online media, which includes, of course, Google Hangouts, which I'm very new at, audio, which I'm more accustomed to because I have been doing radio, online radio, for about 4 years now, maybe a little over 4 years. And I also host television, and so conversation television, blogging, all of the media that we have access to online is the tools that we use. So that's really, in a very brief nutshell, that's what the co-creation community is all about.
I love it. I really, really love it. And I really appreciate how you kind of led us through another piece of your journey that took us to this big, well-rounded community, the co-creation community. And the fact that you said one thing quite important kind of stuck with me. And that was, being in business, having a business is not always easy. Failing in a business can be done in a snap. And, when I think about failure and success in business, there are some really good barometers for recognizing when change is necessary. And that change might be to actually engage with, someone or in a community where you can get the kind of mastermind support that the co-creation community provides for. And, in your series of wins and losses in building multiple businesses, talk to us about some of the key early warning signs that you noticed and want to share with our audience.
Sure. Well, I think that, first of all, when you build a team that consists of more than you, that there are potentially, the beauty of that is that you bring on people, whether they're employees, consultants, support people in our business of building homes. Of course, we had trade specialists who really knew what they were doing. You bring on a lot more people into your team, and that means that you need to manage them. You need to have a structure where everybody can be on the same page. And so I really feel like planning business, whether it's a solopreneur, which I think that's a misnomer. I think that we don't work in this world alone. There's no way that you can be a solopreneur, or you would not be a happy camper. And your business would not be successful. You cannot do it alone. Period. That's my philosophy, and I don't are here on this planet all by ourselves.
No, I agree. It actually lends to a redefinition of solopreneur, because it can mean that you are the only person that your business is actually paying directly from the business as an employee, so to speak. But it by no means that you are or want to be by yourself, because you do want the team of a virtual assistant or whatever other kinds of independent contractors that you might be able to get to help support you in your business.
Right, and even if you're not paying them money, even if your mode of currency is something else, you still need the support of others, which may even include your clients. And often, I definitely include the clients. In fact, at our previous business at Spectrum, we used to say our clients are the MVP on the team. And that way, they are part of the co-creative process because they are the MVP. We're only here to serve them. And so they need a voice, a big voice, and we need to listen.
Yeah.
So I think that, though, for business purposes, whatever size business one chooses to operate, a plan is necessary, a business plan. And I don't believe in having other people write your business plan. And this definitely goes for larger corporations. If you've got employees and if you're a corporation, the CEO or the founder or the president or the people that are the key people in this company need to write their own business plan. Because, and that's an organic document. That's an organic tool. It changes all the time. But you've got to answer the questions and the situations that go into planning. And then I truly believe you need a separate written marketing plan. And that you look at your business as an entity to develop, and that you bring in the right people to help it develop. You have to have your eyeballs on the financials. I hate numbers. I hate spreadsheets. I really don't like to read profit and loss and balance sheets and all that stuff. I don't. But you've got to know. You've got to know whether you're making money or not. I mean, and this goes for nonprofits too. There is not a nonprofit in existence that isn't concerned about revenue. They just call it funding rather than revenue. And so that's a big part. You cannot be an entity, a business entity of any sort, if you don't have a revenue model that works.
For profit or non-profit, your responsibility to the business is to be a business, and the first order is, bottom line, you have to have revenue. You have to be a business that's about making revenue. Now, how you go about doing that can take various and sundry directions and ways, and that's what I love about doing business too. And it totally supports the team effort and having the support that you need. But with the business plan, I want to go back to that for just a second because, I am very big on that as well. That's the strategy. That's your, do you want to go to the moon or do you want to discover a new star? Either way, you have to know what that farthest point is that you would like to attain. And then it's like the trip to the moon. Course corrects, the rocket ship course corrects 97% of the time. So not being so hung up on the how as much as you are just keeping your eye on the prize and knowing that, like you said, things will shift, things will take their turns, and that's really your flexibility, your ability to adapt is really going to be the determiner as to how quickly you make it to the destination that you've designed and how easily. And certainly being part of the co-creation and the collaboration thinking and moving in that space allows for you to do it a lot more easily.
Yeah. I actually call the business plan, marketing plan, the GPS. You have to have a GPS. You have to have a map. Otherwise, you can get someplace without a GPS or without a map, but it's going to be kind of a convoluted journey. It's a lot easier if you've got a GPS. Now, that doesn't mean that you plug in the same destination every day. It doesn't mean that you don't decide. Well, sometimes your GPS tells you to go down a street that's not quite right, and you can intuitively or make the choice to say, no, I'd rather not go that route this time. I want to do this other thing. But you make a conscious choice based on some information or some support or something to make that choice. Then I think that in terms of team, that all high-functioning teams have two things that I think are really important: structure and leadership. Now, that doesn't mean that you have, that you're the kind of leader that stands up and says, okay, this is the way we're going to do things, this is the structure, it's so tight, and I'm the boss and you do what I say. No, that's not the kind of leadership model I'm talking about at all. But a structure that is accepted and communicated first and accepted by the players on the team, and then a facilitator who can facilitate the team's processes and the team's function. I think that is really critical. And I've been on some teams that didn't have that. And it was frustrating, I think, for everybody. It wasn't that anybody was a bad person or not talented at what they had to give, or even that the team's purpose wasn't honorable and wonderful, but it was just sort of a mess. And so I think that that's key in teamwork and in co-creation, is having a structure and a good facilitator, good leadership.
And in that leadership, talk to us about your ideas around how you show team that they're valued other than allowing them to contribute at that level. I mean, I think what you described is the not allowing team to contribute in a way that's going to be for the good of the whole. And I love the way that you talk about the going from me to we, and that's a lot of the issue today with teams, is the leadership model is still based on, you know, this is my idea and I'm so attached to it that, you know, I want it this way and I'm just going to be in that box. I mean, you drew it out. What is it that we can tell our audience about leadership that can help to shift those who are still in that process of shifting?
Yeah, that is really a challenge in many ways, because we come from, at least, you know, my background and people my age. I'm 62, so I've gone through a lot of years of structuring businesses that kind of where in big business, in big corporate business, the model has not been necessarily co-creative. So I've worked outside the box for a long time, and what I see really necessary is sort of the first step, is when you pull your team together, that you clearly articulate what the purpose of the team is, what the core values are, and that the vision and the mission. You know, what are your core beliefs personally as well as for the team, and what do you see as the vision, where you want this to go, what your big picture belief is, and then your mission. What is the purpose of us? How are we going to get there? And is everybody on the team on the right bus? Maybe they're not, and that's not to say that they're not good people, they're not brilliant, they don't have great ideas, they don't have great businesses, it just means that they're on the wrong bus going where your GPS is telling you to go. And so you really need to know who is on your team. As a leader, and I believe as a team player, everybody needs to know who is on the team. I believe, and this is just my own stuff, for me, the perfect size of a team is 9 people, plus the facilitator. And with 9, you can get to know each other. And there are many tools that you can use to get to know each other. The simple and the most easy is to have one-to-one conversations in person or on Skype, or, you know, where you can actually see the person, and even better yet, touch the person. That's the way to easily start relationships and really get to know a person. But there are also tools like assessments, like DISC is the one that I'm most familiar with, have used for probably 15 years. There's True Colors, which is another one that I really love, and I think that with the permission movement, I think that there's True Colors participation in that, which is awesome. Myers-Briggs, there's Brandy Michaels has the character codes, Angel Quintana with Holistic Fashionista has her archetypal system. But those kinds of things are a really fun way to understand who is on the bus, who's on your team, and really learn how to communicate with the different kinds of people that you're going to have there. And diversity is really important. You don't want everybody to be like you. Gosh, if everybody was like me on a team, it would be a disaster. Absolutely a disaster. so that's important. Know who's on your team. Have a structure where the core values and the vision and the mission are held by everybody. They're all on the same bus. So that, I don't know, that's sort of a long blah blah about your question, I think.
Well, it was actually a great answer, because there are some key things that leaders need to be aware of to effectively manage teams. And I think you pointed many of those higher points out, in that you want to know who's on your team, you want to know who's supporting where you want this project to go. And the shared values is really, really important. Is communication a high value ticket for not just the leader, but for everyone participating? There's some people who would rather participate and be behind the scenes and getting things done versus being a part of the information flowing into the group, the prompting of communication within the group, the engagement piece. And I think that it's very key that you need to know what your strengths are as far as the people on your team, and assess them in a way that is really stays true to the goal in mind.
Yeah.
And recognizing that everyone has value, because someone may not necessarily be the most effective person to have on your team, doesn't mean that they aren't without their own value statements. And
Yeah.
It can be difficult to say, we're going in this direction, and I'm not sure that what you're able to contribute and what I'm expecting from you is going to serve the team at its highest and best state at this point in time. And really, has someone exit the team. That's a tough place to be. What's your experience been on, making those kind of corrections within your team? Do you have a point that you can kind of give to our audience that's something that can help in that regard?
Wow, that is the hardest thing to do. If you have pulled a team together that's already going someplace, and you see that there's discord, that there's a problem here with an individual or with the team functioning in one way or another, knowing what to do and when to do it is really the hardest thing in the world. I mean, if you think about firing somebody, that's the worst. So what I like to use past experiences as learning experiences, the good and the bad as well as the wonderful. And I like to focus on the wonderful, because that feels better. What works feels better than what doesn't work. What I will say is that if you put the effort in the beginning of the gathering of the team, and you really put the structure in place and the piece in place where people can learn about communication styles, they can learn about what the team is up to, what the expectations are, what their piece in it will be. You really emphasize, in my opinion, honoring everybody's gifts so that everybody can give what they have as a gift, but they also will need to get what they need. Because that is important. It's the give-get that is so powerful. If it's just give, 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 and not get anything that one needs, that you can't sustain that. If it's just get, then the givers feel like, well, this isn't working, and this, that person is just sucking all the energy, all of the gets are going to that one person. So I think in the best way to deal with this is to really plan it out and structure it. Have a good facilitator. I don't think that. I think that the best leadership and facilitation of teams is not always somebody who it's their idea. It's that they have a that I think that the facilitator is the facilitator. It's just sort of like if you're the CEO of a company or the president of a company or the executive director of the company, you probably, as you grow, you will not be the bookkeeper. You will not be the CFO. You will not be the sales manager or the sales team. Your function is something else. Your gift is something else, and you've got to let other people do what their gift is, and what you will get from that is a team that's functioning well. Now, I have had to fire people. It's horrible. It's the worst thing possible, especially if you've got a team that you love everybody and you think of them as your family, and now they've screwed up bad. What do? I mean, you cannot keep them on the team, because they will, if it's bad enough to warrant firing or kicking them off the team or letting them go or laying off or whatever words you want to use. If you have a rotten apple in the barrel, it will make the whole barrel rot. And that's just, it is harsh and it hurts, but it's true. I've seen it happen. And I've made the mistake of not getting rid of people that have been not helping the team, but actually destroying the team. Hard. But it happens, and as your team grows, it will happen.
I think because I've been in similar positions, and I know that one of the things, especially in corporate America, that you have the ability to do is to bring in the HR rep. And so it's not just you, the leader, and this person who are, at odds basically and dealing with this issue, especially when it comes down to the need to release them. And I think that is something that as solo and multiple entrepreneurs, whether we have employees or not, consulting with someone to get ideas around approach, around if this is a difficult person, do I need someone else in the room, and things of that nature. But what I want to really communicate is that the mark of a most efficient team actually comes from its leader. And leaders need to know some basic things in order to really help their teams to move forward, move expeditiously. I mean, you don't want your team to go at tortoise's pace unless, of course, that's what would benefit the project at that point in time. But most projects I know are time sensitive, they're people sensitive, and all of these other things that really cause them to have a need to go at an effectively fast pace. And so my last question here, I want you to kind of give us some feedback on is really, do you have some basic tips for creating or being a part of, especially leading, really these high functioning teams? We're talking about this is make or break stuff for someone's business potentially, and the teams that they put together to help move a project or their business forward. Give us a couple of tips to making them the highest functioning teams possible.
Sure. But beyond the initial, know who's on your team, and I think that's step number one. That's tip number one all the time. But of course, there are tools for facilitating. There are frameworks that I have personally found that work, or that there are team facilitators who have really good ways of facilitating teams, or how to structure the leadership of these teams and make it fun. But I think that key tip is that it has to be stated and everybody needs to be on the same page, that everybody has gifts and everybody is honored and respected and listened to, and that we all are here to move toward a certain goal, but that our way of being together and getting there is going to be collaborative, meaning that we contribute our gifts, we get what we need. So people need to know, what do they need, and what, state it to each other. Why are you here? What do you want to get out of this experience, this teaming experience? And that needs to be heard and respected and honored. So the gives, the gets, and then how is our working together going to benefit the whole, which is the mission, the vision of this team. And I like to always think about it like a baseball team, because everybody kind of gets baseball. A baseball team only has 9 players on the one time. And you don't have 9 pitchers on the field. And in fact, the people who play the pitcher position rarely play any other position. They're really good at being a pitcher. They probably really suck at being a second baseman or a fielder. Their gift is being a pitcher. What do they get out of being part of this team? Well, they want to win the pennant. They want to go to the championships. They want to win. But they need to all play together to get to that goal. You also have a manager and you have a coach. The manager doesn't do what the coach does. The coach doesn't do what the manager does. And everybody plays together well. Now, we have seen, I'm in the Bay Area, and we have the Giants. Now, the Giants have people who absolutely love the team, and several years ago, there was a really good hitter on the team. Hit home runs all the time. He was not a team player. And the team did fairly well, but after this major great hitter, he was awesome hitter, after he left the team changed. And when they went to the World Series, and you watched these guys playing, where each one did what they did really well, but they loved each other and respected each other and really supported each other as a team. And so when they won the World Series, the best part, I think, was see what happened when they won the World Series. They were all jumping all over each other and hugging each other and supporting each other. They'd done this great thing together. And so that, I think, is, if we can take our tips from baseball and from that example of a good team, a great team that did well, but then they did super well after they really became a team.
Cohesive team. And it takes recognizing that there are those things that do impact teams. And while team members may not see it or understand it, team leaders, it is truly their responsibility. And when we talk about being in the space of social entrepreneurship and leadership, you know, it takes me to a place of also considering legacy. And as we are developing and living our legacies, we're also continuing our own personal evolving and emerging into our highest and best selves. And one of the things that I see team leaders also being responsible for is growing team leaders within their teams. And go ahead.
I look at leadership as not the model of the leader at the top and all of these other followers below them, or a tiered system where there's one leader at the top and the next level is the C level that's trying to get to the top, and then the next level is a management level that's trying to get to the next level of leadership. I don't see it that way. I see it as a circle. As actually, I mean, if I have to get woo-woo about it, I see it as a spiral, or as an infinity sign, perhaps, where everybody is contributing their gifts. They're getting support to give what they have, to get what they need, to make the whole successful, and that way they are individually being successful. That boosts leadership, that reinforces the individual to step up and be successful in a bigger way. And so it's like facilitating a team of leaders. Everybody's a leader, and everybody can be honored for what they do well, because everybody has gifts. There's not one person on this planet that does not have a gift of some sort. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on this planet. We were put here because we have something to give to others, but we also need to get things. We need to get whatever it is we need to get. And so having that system of leadership where we are all leaders, let's all support each other, let's all honor and respect each other's gifts, and let's contribute what we have to give to help others to make the whole succeed. That's my model of leadership.
I heard someone say once that the mark of a great leader is being able to be on the team and be a high contributing team player. And I think that teams actually come to the place of developing leaders from within, because it's, as you said, everyone has their own gifts to contribute. And speaking of that, I want to let our audience know that you've brought something that you'd like to contribute to our audience, and tell us a little bit about that. What is it, and how can we get it?
Well, that's super easy. It's an ebook. It's called Tips for Terrific Teams, and it has a lot of resources for people who want to make their team highly functional. And I've given this out to college students. I've given it when I've been
Sorry, to who?
teaching at
Okay, okay.
at San Francisco State University. I gave this out to a group of professional practice interior design and interior architecture students, because I figured they're already in teams, but they're launching into a career where it's really important to work as a team. I mean, that was my career for 40 years, so I know. So this is available if you go onto the Co-Creation Community website.
I've got the link, and I will put the link up on the event page. And
yes,
it will also be at the BIZ Info Zone show page with Susan's information. So in case you cannot find the event page and you're watching this YouTube video, you will see that link within the video, as well as how to get to it.
Yeah, and just type in ebook in the message box so that I know that that's what you want.
Okay.
And yours for free.
Great. Well, Susan, thank you so much for being on our show today. This was great information about the collaborative community and the co-creative community and the whole concept that continues to emerge around creating valuable teams, high-functioning and fast-paced working teams. I think you hit on all of the elements, and especially for solopreneurs, to know that there are ways for you to create these highly effective teams, and Susan shared with us some of those tips. So make sure that you come back to the event page where the link will be posted, and introduce your friends to this video today. You've been in the BIZ Info Zone, and you've been watching the BIZ Info Zone show. My name is V. Lynn Hawkins, and I am the creator and the dean of the P3 Academy for Social Entrepreneurship, which you will hear much more about as time goes on. Join us again this time next week, when we will be talking in the marketing and sales category of our pillars of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship. Susan, thank you for joining us. I'm so glad that you were able to be on the show and share this valuable information. Do you have anything you want to just send our audience off with as we close the show?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. This has been really fun. It's been fun to be on this end instead of on your end. It's a different thing. And also, I would love it if people would go to the Co-Creation Community website, which is www.thecocreationcommunity.com. Our sister website is thecocreationstation.com. And take a look around. If you like what you see and you would like more information about being a champion, well, a catalyst, a champion, or we didn't even get into the youth champion piece of what's going on, I would love to connect with you. So you can contact me through the website if you want more information, and that would be awesome.
Thank you. I know that our audience is thrilled to see a way that they can connect with someone who really is being a change maker in today's business and community environment. Thanks, Susan. Thank you to all of our audience who joined us today. Again, I'm V. Lynn Hawkins, and have a wonderful rest of the day and a great rest of the week. Remember to join us again next week, right here in the zone, and that's the BIZ Info Zone. Bye for now.